Hi, folks. I have a question asked by a YouTuber, which goes like this. If I have a main assembly with multiple sub-assemblies, each with their own mechanisms, is it possible to create a main mechanism in the main assembly that can control the mechanisms of the sub-assemblies from the top level? And the answer is yes. Okay. And in fact, of course, this is inherited from Catia V5 because that's what's buried inside 3D experience, uh, kind of. And it takes more steps in order to do that in Catia V5. As a matter of fact, I have posted a link down here which shows you the same process with the more steps in the Catia V5. I'm going to do that in the context of an example. Dimensions and these things don't matter here. I have two sub-assemblies. One of them has its own mechanism and it's made out of a prismatic joint like this. So this product 2, which is my first sub-assembly, is going to have these two pieces in it, and it's a prismatic joint, so there is a mechanism in it. And the other one, product 1, is going to have its own mechanism, and it's a cylindrical joint between these two parts. Later on, I'm going to bring these things and show you as as an example to what the YouTuber is asking, how to put them together in this overall assembly. Okay. Now, in order to do that, notice that first I have to create the sub-assemblies, product 1 and product 2. One of them is prismatic, the other one is cylindrical. And then at the top level, I create a mechanism, the top level assembly, create a mechanism and show you how you can actually use the assembly tab in the appropriate dialog box in order to come up with what the YouTuber wants. And that's the assembly tab. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So first, what I'm going to do is create my product 1. In other words, sub-assembly 1. So let's go ahead here, which is a cylindrical joint. So let me start with uh, assembly design. And I'm going to call this thing a product 1 or sub-assembly 1 if you want. Product 1, properties. I'll call it product 1. Product 1. That's really your sub-assembly. Okay, so let's go make it. I'm going to make two parts in it, part 1 and part 2. Right click, insert 3D part. This is going to be part 1. Later on, I don't have to rename these things in the 3D experience, but it's going to be a lot messier in Catia V5 tutorial, because you do have to avoid any conflict, name conflict. I'm going to call them part 1, part 2, part 3, etc. But I'm just going to leave it the way it is here. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. Part 1. Part 1. Part 1. Okay. Let's go make it. Double click on this horizontal plane. I will sketch a rectangle like so. Exit. Add it. Great. Now, I'm going to insert my second part, which is the block that's sliding on top of that. So double click, insert, 3D part. And for the sake of consistency, I'm going to call this thing part 2. Okay. And part 2. Okay, let's go make it. Just another box. So for example, again on that horizontal plane, I will sketch a rectangle. Okay, exit and path. This is eventually going to go on top of the other one. Okay, Can I make my assembly constraints here? Yeah. So I'm going to create my first mechanism there. So let's do, first of all, fix the part one. Fix part one. There we are. See that? And then we create a prismatic joint. I'll use this last one. It really doesn't matter here. You just see that? This line and that line. This plane and that plane. And I really don't need these things, but in case I want to control it, I'm going to use the distance between these two planes is going to be the controlling parameter. Good. So we have created our joints. This is a prismatic joint. So now let's go create our mechanism, sub-mechanism or mechanism one if you want. So we go to mechanical systems design. Click on the mechanism representation. I'm going to call this thing mechanism one. How about that? Mechanism one or sub mechanism if you want. I'll call it mechanism one. Yep. And then we say, okay. It's created mechanism one. You can see that. And there are two joints in it. Double click on it. One of them, of course, is the fixed joint. Another, not the fixed part, which is the ground basically, and the other one is prismatic. And because I already defined the boost control, this is check. If I had not done the last two lines in that dialog box, then I would have to check this length one. Okay, good. Does it work? Let's try it. Let's try this. Yeah, that's good. Reset. Say okay. Now I'm going to save this because later on, maybe this is a file that somebody sent to you. Okay, it's just like that YouTuber is asking, what if I have these things maybe sent to me by a supplier or something? The mechanism are already created. Okay, good. Now I will I'll leave this thing on. Okay, I'll leave this thing on, and then we're going to go create another tab for part two. For product two, assembly design. But notice that this is already there. I can see that. I can close it. I'm going to call this in product two. Product two. You say, okay, let's create our part three, which is the base of that cylindrical joint. So insert 3D part. Okay. For consistency, let me call this thing part three. Part three. And the instance also part three. And then we're going to make it. It's just a cylinder. So maybe on that plane, I will sketch. Yeah, just a circle right there. Exit, and then pad it. That's fine. All the way to the top. Okay, now I'm going to insert my arm if you want, or part four. Insert 3D part. I'm going to call this thing part four. Well, let's go make it. Double click. On a convenient plane, on that plane, I will sketch. Yeah, something like looks like that. I'm going to clean it up in a minute. Okay, exit. And then pad it. All right. So let's go and assemble it just like we did the prismatic one, all the way to the top. So we're going to, first of all, fix the part three. This is part three. Part three is going to be fixed right there. And then we create a cylindrical joint. I will use axis to axis, pretty much. this axis, let me try that again. Axis and axis, this axis and that axis. And how about, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I want this thing to go further up. So that's easy to do. I'm going to delete these to show you that to control these things. Last time in the for product one, I selected those two end plates, but I'm not going to do that because I want to show you how you can make this thing work without even selecting these things. So we say delete this and delete that. Okay, we say okay, no problem. If you want, you can move this thing up. Okay, good. Now, let's go and create our mechanism. The only difference between what I did now and the previous product one was that there I used the control boxes defining plane so that the prismatic joint is going to be length 3. And here on purpose, I did not do that. I had to do 2 planes and 2 planes for angle, but I did not do that on purpose because I want to show you what happens. So now we're going to go to mechanical systems design, and let's create our mechanism. And I'm going to call this thing mechanism 2. Mechanism 2. All right. And let's see what's in it. You click on it. Notice that here, when you check the cylindrical one, those planes were not selected. That's why I just cannot go ahead and show you. Let me close that. Let's go back to that cylindrical joint. What am I talking about here? Click on that. Sorry, click on the, yeah. These I did, access and access, but those 2 other dialog boxes I closed. So let me go ahead and do the template. This is the one that we want. These are the ones that I killed. And now I ran into a problem. I could not actually move things. So for angle, I used 2 vertical planes, this plane and that plane. And for planes, offsets, I use, for example, the distance between this plane and that plane, or the top plane. It really doesn't matter. Okay, good. Now let's go back to our mechanism right there. This is the one, mechanism 2. Double click on it. You select this. Notice that these can be checked. And in fact, I can check whether it's working fine or not. So go to mechanism there. And notice that there are two sliding bar because it's a cylindrical joint. One is like this, and the other one is like that. Fine. Good. So we created our mechanism 2. Excellent. Let me save this thing. I will not close either one of these 2 tabs because I want to. I don't want to go and search in my database and find out where they are and just bring it in. So let me go ahead and start another assembly design. This is the main assembly. Oops. Where is it? Oh, right here. No, sorry. I had to add another tab and then go create another assembly. Right there. I'm going to call main assembly property just so that you see what's going on. Main or overall assembly. Called overall assembly. Overall assembly. Okay. Good. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this. Copy product 1. Copy. Go back to this overall assembly. Paste it. Notice that product 1 is pasted. Do the same thing product 2. Copy. Or if you had saved it and you had to go insert existing component, go find it in the database and bring it. Paste. So notice that in this overall assembly, I have both mechanisms, but the fellow wants a single assembly on the very top, a single mechanism on the very top level. Okay, so let me go ahead and create this. Let me go ahead and create this thing. So for example, right click, insert 3D part. I'm going to make this thing. It's just a box, right? So on a convenient plane, on that plane, I will sketch. There. Exit. Add it. I'll make it a little bit longer. Okay, good, good. So now we start putting things together. First of all, I want to put these things in the right spot. Okay? For example, I'm going to say in snap, that's the easiest way of doing it. Snap this point to that point. Okay. Maybe snap this point to this point. Let me see that. Snap maybe that line to this line. Looks nicer. Good, good. Okay, and do the same thing here. Snap this line with that line, and snap maybe that plane with this plane. Okay, good. So it could be that your friend from supplier sent you, created the mechanism, sent it to you as a product 1, create another mechanism, send it to product 2, and what we want to do, we want to have something at the very top level to do this for us. So let's go ahead to yeah, mechanical system design, because we are at the top level. We are at the assembly level, overall assembly level, and we're going to create a mechanism, and it's a top level mechanism. Top level mechanism. So, okay. Now, if you check it, this is at the very top. If you double click on it, you see that there's nothing there because there are no joints. But if you click on the assembly tab right there, see that? You can include these sub-assemblies in your overall assembly and then say, okay. All right. Now, this is what the fellow was asking. Okay. All you have to do is you click on there to check it out, mechanism player. Notice that we've got one sliding bar for the prismatic joint, single degree of freedom, 2 sliding bars for the cylindrical joint. That's what it is. All right. So this answers the question to the fellow who raised it. Right. Good luck. I will be doing one for the Catia V5, which is a bit more involved. There's a couple more steps that you have to follow. Good luck.